What we'd like to do this morning is we want to talk about a subject that's not going to be comfortable for some people. And it might be painful to some people. But a subject that needs to be addressed. It's a subject that's real for many people, and it's a part of your life. And there are a number of you that I believe have had this type of an experience. Now, we talked about pain and wanting to get rid of pain before. We talked about the human nature of wanting to feel comfortable when we feel uncomfortable. And sometimes one of the ways that we use, one of the coping mechanisms that we use to deal with pain is a thing called denial. If we pretend hard enough and long enough that we don't feel this thing, after a while we start to believe it, and we no longer feel this pain. Or sometimes there's another coping mechanism we call repression. And what we do sometimes is we say to ourselves, this really didn't occur. And if we believe that long enough and we push hard enough, we bury those things so far down that we question whether they actually occurred or not. And these are survival mechanisms. They help us kind of get through. But at one point, especially for addicts, when you start to address the issues that you have to deal with, those things that have been denied, those things that have been repressed, those things that have been intellectualized are going to start to surface. And they're going to create some feelings of discomfort. But just like that child who's got to go through that surgery, to experience that short-term discomfort, in the long run, it's going to feel a whole lot better.
About the age of 9, my father came into the house. He was drunk.
I was 9 years old.
He opened the top of my pajamas.
And he used to always come in drunk, and he's laying in the bed.
He started doing things to me.
And he called me.
But I was too scared. I didn't move. I didn't do anything. I didn't say nothing.
And he took off his drugs.
I didn't even mention it to my mother. I blocked it out.
I can remember this so clear.
I didn't say anything because I was afraid.
He used to sit me on his lap and tell me I was his daddy's little girl. I felt my breast.
Because I didn't know whether that was normal or not.
I never talked about it.
When it happened when I was old enough, around 14, I told my mother.
He put me on top of him.
And nobody believed me.
Let's see, a little girl is 9 years old. And by now, her father's problem has gotten so bad with drinking that like he's totally dysfunctional, in the sense that like he can't even maintain employment. He can't even go out and hold on a job. He's in and out of the house. Now the mother has got these kids. She's got these 4 children. They have to survive somehow, so she has to go to work. And she's been a housewife pretty much most of this marriage. So she may be limited in the skills that she has that are marketable. So she's got to take whatever's offered to her. She may get a hospital job, working as a maintenance worker, or housekeeping, or one of those type of functions. And generally, she's not going to start on the best shift. They might start her working from 4 to 12. Now, what that means for our little girl is she now has to assume the role of the mother. The mother goes out to work. Our little girl becomes a mom until mom comes home. Our little girl, she comes in from school at 9 years old. She finishes preparing the dinner that her mother started. She feeds her brothers. She makes sure the youngest one gets a bath. She puts their pajamas on at the right time, and she puts them in bed. And sometimes the father comes in drunk, falls out on the couch, and goes to sleep. One night, after she's fed her brothers, she's bathed the baby, put him in bed. She's sitting on the couch watching television. She falls asleep. And she awakens to feel her father's hand under her dress. She's 9 years old. This is a new feeling to her. She's petrified, so she just lies there, and she pretends she's asleep. He touches her, and it feels real dirty. He's so drunk, he rolls off the couch. He passes out. She removes his hand from her dress. She slides off the couch. She goes upstairs to the bathroom. She gets in the shower, and she scrubs herself, and scrubs herself, and scrubs herself. She feels so dirty. She feels so unclean. She puts her pajamas on, and she gets in bed. And she wonders, what did she do to make him do that to her? The following day, she goes to school. She's still a little bit confused, thinking about what happened the night before. She looks at him in the morning when she goes out. It appears, by looking at him, nothing happened. So maybe she dreamed this. Maybe this really didn't occur. Maybe this was something she just thought up in her own mind. She goes to school, has a regular day. She comes home. As she's coming in, Mom is going out. Mom gives her the messages that she needs to have for the day so that she can make sure that the kids are taken care of for that evening. And she's off to work, and our little girl's here in the house. But things go fine for a couple of weeks. And she finds herself asleep on the couch again one night after the other kids are all up in bed. And she wakes up, and she finds that her father's kind of pulled the bottom of her pajamas down. And she sees him standing over her with an erection. She's 9 years old. She's never seen anything like that before. She's terrified.